Hi, this is Melody with Summit Software. This is a demo on using links in VSTA. For this demo, we'll be importing XML data using links. And for this, we'll be using the ShapeApp macro recording sample, which is included in the VSTA SDK. And as I said, we'll be importing data from an XML document, in this case, data on shapes. And to do that, we'll use links to query the XML document, and then we'll use Excel to update the XML document to show where Excel fits in the VSTA XML links story. We'll start by opening up a ShapeApp macro recording sample. And within the sample, I added the XML file, which we will be inputting. And this is a very simple XML document. It has some data on shapes, including a unique identifier, the type, color, and location. And currently there are 3 shapes in this document. So we'll run the sample, launch the IDE. Now I did modify this sample to use a Visual Basic instead of C# project for the macro. And because I'm using the templates which came with the sample, I'm going to have to add a couple of references and import statements. These references and import statements can be added directly to the project templates so that they would be automatically included in all add-ins. And the references that I added were to system.core and system.xml links. And then I'll need to add some associated import statements just to use the links queries. So it's going to be system links and system XML links. Now we'll want to add a method that's actually going to handle the importing and querying of the data. We'll call that import data. And this will need to do 3 things. We need to load the XML document, query the doc for data, and then process the data. So to load the document, we'll just declare a xDocument variable. And we're going to load that XML document we were just looking at. Copy full path. And then I have the query saved over here. And what this query is going to do is look for shape elements in the XML document. And then it's going to get their ID, type, color, and the position. Once we have our query, we'll want to iterate through the collection and actually add the shapes to the drawing. I also have that code saved. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new shape, and that's going to be based on the type that we got from our query. We'll then change the color to match the data imported, and same with the location. Then we'll go ahead and add that shape to the drawing. So let's build this. Everything went fine there. And now from the host, what I'm going to do is record a macro, and for this I'm simply going to clear the active drawing. Then we'll go into that macro, which was just recorded, and we'll add a call to our import data method. And we'll rebuild this. Now going back to our host, we'll run that updated macro, and we'll see the shapes from our XML document have been added. Now, let's edit that XML document in Excel. And to do that, we're just going to import the data through the Developers tab. And we'll change some of the locations. And we'll add a couple of shapes. And then again through the Developer tab, we'll export this back to the same XML document. And now if we run our macro again, we'll see the updated XML document being used to import the shapes. So going back to our macro project, to incorporate links to XML in this VSTA add-in, we added a couple of references. Those were to System Core and System XML links and the associated import statements. Again, those could be added to your project templates instead of leaving it to the end user to add them to the individual add-in projects. We then loaded our XML document, queried it for the shape data, and processed the data, and we called all of that through a simple macro. For more information on VSTA or to download the SDK, samples, or get your questions answered on our forums, visit us at sumsoft.com. You can also find the MSDN documentation for VSTA online. And feel free to contact us directly at vstasupport@sumsoft.com.